Recording this one right now, and then I'll post the recordings to our short wing Zoom YouTube channel. And I'm one recording behind, so I apologize for that. It's a little effort to do that, but it's not that hard. I just have to change IDs. But if you're interested in some of the old ones, by all means, check it out. Just search in YouTube short wing Zoom gatherings. You're not going to have any trouble finding it. It's all free. All this stuff is free. Okay. So to just, again, for a couple of the new folks, our agenda for tonight's going to look like this. Our first 20 or 30 minutes kind of depends on when we fizzle out. But the first, at the most 30 minutes, we'll just do an informal meet and greet. And I'll have a little structure behind what we're going to talk about. And then we'll spend maybe 5 minutes or so if any regional presidents want to talk about happenings in their neck of the woods. It's a great time to do that. Then I'm stoked about our presenter, and about every third or so of these Zoom gatherings, we'll have more of a formal presentation. I'm really stoked about this presenter because I've worked with Rebecca Gambrell with uAvionix a few times on issues I've had or questions I've had. Rebecca is, I don't know, her official job title is like product manager or something like that, but she's like the technical guru. I've never seen Rebecca posed or had a question posed to Rebecca that she doesn't have an answer for. I think she's an engineer by training. I have no idea. She sure acts like one. She's also an A&P IA, and she knows the uAvionix stuff inside and out. And Rebecca's just a rock star. And just as a quick, well, I'll tell when I give an introduction to Rebecca. So she's going to be on. I think she's going to bring one or two of her colleagues as well to answer and ask, or do some presentations. And I gave her a couple ideas on what to talk about with uAvionix tonight. I'm hoping we have 5 or 10 minutes available for open mic just to bring up your questions or comments. And again, I told Rebecca there's no time allocations like you get 40 minutes plus or minus 5 or any of that silliness. When we're done, we're done, right? And if we may have 20 minutes of open mic, we may have 5. No different than if we're all gathered in a hangar, right? And then we'll close it out right around 7 o'clock Mountain. That's where I'm calling from. So you make your own math. So in about 90 minutes. So that's the agenda. For the meet and greet, here's what I'm going to propose we do with our meet and greet this Monday night is, again, as usual, just give us your name and where you're calling from or what your base is, what kind of aircraft you fly. If it's a short wing, that's glorious. If not, that's glorious too. Just share it. I mean, who doesn't love talking about the planes they fly? And then if you can answer the question, what's on the top of your instrument wish list? And it doesn't have to be uAvionix stuff, but it can be anything. What would you love to have in your short winger, or what's maybe even you're getting in your short wing? So I'll start off. I'll try to make it as short as I can, just to kind of give you guys a moment to scratch your head and be prepared. I don't do alphabetical order or any of that silliness. When you're ready to chime in, just chime in. And if 2 or 3 people start talking, we figure it out, right? So again, my name's Jim Wood. I've got a 1958 Tri-Pacer, 160 horse. I'm based at Rocky Mountain Metro, just northwest of Denver, Colorado. Our field elevation is around 5,700 feet, so I'm pretty aware of density altitude. And I mean, I was getting 800-foot climb per minute yesterday. Yeah, I love to fly during the Bronco games because I'm not a Bronco fan, and everybody's home watching TV. So I was up there in the Bronco game. But it's a gorgeous area, and it's challenging. We've got an extremely busy airport, a lot of flight schools. I think 5 flight schools, and it's a class Delta and under the Denver Bravo. So you got to keep on your toes. So that's a picture of my plane on the lower right, and that's the instrument panel on the left. She's a work in progress right now. You can see in the center there that blank screen is a uAvionix AV30. I've got a second one in the box or coming, and I've got an AV20 in the box, and I'm putting a GPS in. If I can get a avionics tech to not grace their presence, that was not nice. Just get on their schedule. They're so stinking busy at our airport. So that's my story. Um, who'd like to jump in? Introduce yourself, especially if you're new.
Yes. Oh, well, I'm not new. This is Jürgen Nies, Winchester, Virginia. I have a 1960 PA 2220, 160 horsepower. Been flying it for 26 years, have over 2,600 hours in it, and been restoring it part by or section by section for the last 5 years. And this year I'm working on the fuselage. Took it apart, took the knife to the fabric in middle of March and hope I'll be flying by Christmas.
And
Oh,
Jurgen,
and as far as what I really would like to have is an autopilot.
yeah, yeah. And just as a side note, if I'll plug Jurgen's got a great YouTube channel. He just posted, was it 2 days ago, the painting of your
Yeah,
uh that was cool, man. That was cool.
yeah. Well, it turned out okay.
Yeah,
Considering that I'm painting in a tent in my backyard on grass
good to
in a
me.
non-controlled environment with a turbine system. So I
Yeah.
don't have a compressor in my backyard. So it's a two-stage turbine, which I'm using the Stewart system, and they're adamant that I should not use a turbine. But I say, well, I've been painting my airplane for 5 years with a turbine, and it's not the best paint job, but it looks okay.
And your YouTube channel is Pacer. Tell us again.
Pacer 4 to Zulu.
42 Zulu. I was going to say 22 Zulu. Pacer 42 Zulu. Cool. Thanks, Jurgen. Who else would like to introduce themselves, especially if you're a new person, but you don't have to be. There's no law.
Hey, I'll just go right here. My name is Dan. I fly out of El Monte. I have a 150 1956 Tri-Pacer. And well, I missed last week. I just totally forgot. Sorry. And but anyway, instrument I'd love for uAvionix to make some sort of an engine monitor. I think like they have really cool like format and cool interface and like cool looking design. I thought like an engine monitor would suit them really nicely. And then I just want to share with you, uh, my dad was a pilot, and I just wanted to show you his first logbook from 1971, and I don't know if you guys could see, maybe not, but PA22 right down the line there.
Oh, how cool.
It's pretty cool from 1971 in Florida. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. And anyway, yeah, I'll sign off here. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks, Dan.
Cool.
Hey,
I'll go. I'm the other Dan, California. I'm out of Long Beach, fly to Compton, fly 59, 22 and 50. Just did a avionics upgrade, so there isn't much that I want on my wish list, but I would take an autopilot or an AOA indicator at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm using with the AV20 for, Dan, is an angle of attack indicator. That's why I'm putting that in.
Yep, they seem great.
Cool.
it's Paul out in Miami, Florida, November 7036 Delta. I fly out of North Perry. Like Jim, I'm busy airspace here. Fly out of Class Delta. To the north of me is Fort Lauderdale International, Class Charlie, and the Bravo out of Miami. So lots of towered airports down here in South Florida. Jim, I like your panel. Hey, I had a question. That little inclinometer you have,
Yeah.
where is the best to get that? And is that wired in, or is that just kind of
Just
placed on
just
the
glued
panel?
in or mounted in. It's aircraft spruce. I think they're a whopping $12 or something like that. It's not a high-tech operation. Well, 12, there's nothing at aircraft spruce for $12, but not particularly expensive. Yeah. Yeah. Aircraft
And
spruce.
does it work pretty good?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've
And
got
do
the
you just
inclinometer on the AV30, but frankly, that thing is big and in my face. And I had that mounted before I put the AV30 in. So that's my go-to when I'm looking at coordinated turns or lack thereof.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have the old, probably my instruments from the 40s or 50s, the little doghouse and
Mhm.
old school inclinometer. But I'd like to get that
Yeah.
inclinometer you have. So you just get it at spruce and it just sticks on, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I can't remember if it's screwed in or sticks on. It might be screwed in. I can't remember. That's a good question.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
but
yeah. It's out there.
it's not wired in. It's just panel mount, right?
Panel mounted. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I had one last question. Wing bolts like the upper struts. Is there a time limit on those bolts, or as long as they're kept in good condition, they last decades? Or is there a
Well, Steve Carruthers is the resident genius on that kind of stuff. So I don't know, Steve, do you know?
If you take the wing off, replace the bolts.
correct?
If the wing is not off, just check the bolt for wear. But there is no. It's not a life limited bolt. It's just like same thing. If you do your bungees, when you take
Yeah.
the hydrosorb out, don't put an old bolt back in there.
Yeah.
That's silly. So bolts are cheap. So just at an annual time, inspect it. Make sure it's not worn. It'll be easy to tell. You can push the wing up and down if it moves. If it moves, the bolt's worn or the bracket's worn. Just
Okay.
just remember the rear attach bolt. The front one fits perfectly. You just put it in and you torque it. The rear attach bolt, there is supposed to be shims between the spar and the bracket. That's manufacturing tolerance. It's on the drawings. So when you put the wing on, you put the front bolt in, you measure the gap between the bracket and the spar, both forward and aft, and you put washers in between the bracket and the spar to take up slack. So when you torque the bolt, you don't bend things.
Okay. But they should last. And
They should last. A lot of them have been in there 60 or 70 years.
Okay.
The landing gear bolt's the one that scares me. Nobody ever looks at those.
Oh yeah, I just replaced all of mine with brand new bolts and shocks and bungee.
Yeah. Yeah, but the ones that hold the landing gear to the fuselage.
Yeah.
Those are a royal pain to get out. But again, those take a lot more abuse than your wing bolts ever thought of.
Right.
Because they're usually bent.
Hey, is anyone in the market for a rear exhaust stack? I have a good deal on one if anyone needs one.
Cool. All right. Well, maybe you can put it in the chat. Thanks, Paul. Hey, I appreciate you introducing yourself. That was awesome. Mark, you were going to go?
Yeah, sure. I'm Mark Shada. I'm situated between Buffalo and Rochester. So my airplane is at Batavia. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with this territory, but it's a pilot-controlled airfield. I've got a 1961 Colt tail dragger, which I've had for about 3 years or so. And the top of my instrument wish list is an instrument rating. I've been working on my instrument rating for well over a year now. And as the saying goes, 90% there, 90% to go. And I've been renting because my Colt isn't equipped for IFR flight. So really the top of my instrument wish list is an airplane surrounded by, or which surrounds an IFR panel. And the shopping that I've been doing is for a tail dragger IFR airplane, and they're just like unicorns, at least in this neck of the woods anyway. So I haven't been successful. I guess if there was something at the top of my instrument wish list, something practical for the Colt, it'd probably be a 406 ELT.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks, Mark. Yeah, that's why I'm doing my putting in my second AV30, and I just want to turn the plane more to be an IFR capable, putting in a WAS GPS and so forth. And I'll let Rebecca talk about it, but they've got an HSI dongle or whatever you want to call it. So it's pretty sweet what I saw out of the Oshkosh. So anyhow, Jim Tyner, were you going to go?
Yeah, this is Jim Tyner. I'm up in Central Oregon. Fly out of Prineville Airport.
Yeah.
And my aircraft is a PA-22/20 and 6313 Zulu. Anyway, I hate to say it, but I've been in restoration phase for about 16 years now.
You are the plane.
What's that?
You are the plane.
Well, me, actually, it's been me. I've had cancer a couple of times,
God
and
bless you,
that's
man.
why
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
major setbacks. But anyway, I've been driven now to finish this thing because my grandson wants it. He's a new aspiring pilot, so I'm looking forward to getting it done. I've got. Um, I'm sorry I don't have a camera up. I don't. I've been pushing buttons and can't get it to happen. So I will get some expertise and do that next time, and I can show you my project. I'm just finished assembling my left wing. A little bit of a struggle trying to integrate Dakota Cub ribs with factory ribs. Um, I've had to make I've made my own leading edges. I'm a sheet metal man by trade, aircraft sheet metal man. And I'm finding that the Dakota rut ribs seem to be uh, about an 1/8 inch to a 3/16 inch longer than the stock ribs that I removed from the airplane. So I've been kind of dealing with that situation, but almost there.
Okay.
And then instrument panel, I'm just hoping to upgrade into the 1980s.
Yeah.
And and so that's all I've got. uAvionix. I don't know if I'm going to do an ADSB yet or not. I know everybody's on board with that, but where I fly from, I don't need it. But we'll see that down the road. So,
Yeah, if you're real
now
lucky, you can start paying landing fees now with UAD. That's what they're doing.
yeah, I'm an old school. I'm 71, and I've seen all of this coming down the road. And when they first started doing that, I go, yeah, we're headed the way Europe is.
Yeah.
And absolutely, that's what we're going to follow. Everybody thinks not, but we'll be there.
I hope not.
My main background is doing jets, corporate jets, military restorations, that kind of thing. And this little Piper is new to me. It's been fun just because it's light and it's new. Probably my last airplane at this point in my career, but it's been a good project.
Yeah, I got a buddy that's a couple rows over in our hangars, and he's got in his hangar, he's got a Citation, he's got a P-51 Mustang, and a PA-11 that he's restoring. And
Oh, cool.
his PA-11 is his favorite project. It's like, get rid of that. He's got to elbow the Mustang and the Citation out of the way. Guy's in a little different tax bracket than I'm in. I have a hunch, but yeah, he's awesome. Great guy, just a great guy. Yeah.
I used to work for those kind of guys that, I did a Northrop T-38 Talon, the supersonic airplane back in the 80s for a fellow by the name of Chuck Thornton, and then later an F-5 for Paul Allen. But the T-38, you can see it now. It's for sale on Barnstormers if you want to look it up.
Cool.
We had sold it. It went to a flight test school in California, and now they've got it for resale. But that's the kind of sect of people. F-86s, T-33s, P-51 Mustangs. Used to work alongside with Steve Hinton and the boys down at Chino.
Oh, cool.
So back in the late 60s, early 70s.
Awesome. Well, thanks
Anyway,
for introducing yourself. Yeah. Cool. Who else would like to join in? Don, you want to go?
Yeah, let me go ahead and jump in real quick. First time here, so I appreciate you letting me in, Jim.
Oh, so glad you're here.
I am in Anniston, Alabama, which is about halfway between Birmingham and Atlanta, right at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. So real pretty rural area here. Nice big airport, very little traffic other than some cargo stuff in there. But recently bought a 59 Tri-Pacer 150 that was a target of opportunity more so than an intended purchase after I lost a Bonanza in a hangar fire a couple of years ago that I'd had for about 20 years. This came up for sale at the home airport, and I thought, that's a pretty neat little airplane. So the more I've been around it, the more I like it, and I'm looking forward to knowing more things about it and learning more from the club. And on the top of the wish list would be some glass instruments to replace the original vacuum gauges that are still in the airplane.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll be impressed tonight. with what you hear. Yeah, cool. Thanks for introducing yourself. So glad you're here. Who else would like to pop in?
I can jump in, Jim.
Go ahead.
Oh, Jerry Kidd here. I'm based out of Josephburg, little airport just outside of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. My associate Dave Slind and I came into a tri-pacer a little under a year ago. Project had been sitting in a hangar for the last 20 years. And we're slowly putting it all back together. The fella that previously had it stripped her down pretty good. Fabric's okay, but the instrument panel, headliner, seats had disappeared. So we've got a few questions on how to put this thing back together. We've between us flown a lot of different airplanes, but never a Piper. So hopefully by next spring we've got the 56 tri-pacer back in the air and be able to comment on how it flies versus a whole lot of other airplanes we've flown. So
Awesome.
wish list. Eventually we're going to want ADS-B, like the tail beacon. Issue we'll have later on is the PA-22 doesn't have an STC from uAvionix for the tail beacon, and just want to pursue that a little further.
Okay.
There we go. That's me.
Cool. Do you go by Jerry or Gerald? I forgot.
I officially Gerald, but my friends call me Jerry.
Okay, Gerald. All right, cool. Thanks for introducing yourself. Who else? We got about 5 more minutes.
I'll go.
Cool.
I guess I'll go. So I'm Mike Levy. I'm based out of Cambridge, New York, and Saratoga Springs, New York. So a little bit away from Batavia. I actually don't own a short wing Piper. Right now I have a Cherokee, and that Cherokee has like one comm radio. It has a uAvionix tail beacon on it, and that's it. I am looking at, what I would like to get. I have a lot of used parts laying around. Like I have a KLN 94 GPS. I have some narco equipment. I have a relatively new Garmin transponder. But I like to see what I could put in there to sort of upgrade everything.
Cool.
And I'm looking to buy down the road something like a PA-12 or a tri-pacer, to sort of add to the fleet. And then to go with Jim mentioned something about ADS-B and worrying about landing fees. I certainly be happy to talk to anyone about how to use the LAD program and the FAA's privacy thing. So you can't track my damn airplane when I land. So those companies like, what is it? I can't
Vector
remember the name of the
something
company.
or whatever they are. Vector
Vector,
something.
Vector. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if they can't see the ADS-B and they can't get your information from the FAA, how can they bill you? So again, it's
Man,
LAD,
if you would be willing to maybe, can we carve out 15 minutes on a future call? Mike, would you mind doing that? I know you.
Sure.
And
Sure.
oh, that'd be awesome. Because yeah, there's a city that's close to our town. It's not our airport yet. I've got a good relationship with our airport manager, but we're on the cutting edge. But they're voting tomorrow night. It's the first of the suburban Denver airports. The city council is voting tomorrow night, and if that domino falls, I think they're all going to fall. So
Well, I think airports have a right to bill landing fees. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the fact that these companies like Vector are coming in and saying, "Hey, we can be a revenue source," and then they take a large chunk of it,
Yeah.
and they're just using ADS-B data, and they go on the FAA webpage and they can look up, your tail number.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I hate to say it, is there's a bunch of suits around the country, lawsuits, where some disturbed neighbor says, "Hey, there's an airplane flying over my house."
Yeah.
They get the tail number from ADS-B, and they're filing frivolous lawsuits saying, "You're
Yeah.
creating noise over my house. You're polluting with your lead fuel, exhaust coming out of your airplane, and all that other stuff." And they're frivolous lawsuits. They get dismissed,
Sure.
but still, pilots are having to pay to defend it. So, yeah,
There
I'd
are
be happy to talk anytime you want.
That'd be great. Maybe you could put your email address in the chat box if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
But yeah, Mike, our airport, my home airport, there are 4 open lawsuits just like that. We're on like the cutting beard tip or whatever the term is of that silliness. But anyhow, don't get me started. I don't want to cry right before we introduce Rebecca. It'd be embarrassing. One or two others, introductions, and then we'll move on. Maybe one more, especially if you're new or first time. I see David. I see your lips moving, David. Do you want to unmute in the lower left corner of your screen? David Morris? I don't know if you're talking to someone else or us. I saw your lips moving.
Sorry, Jim, I was talking with somebody else here.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Sorry. I thought you were introducing yourself. Well, hey, we're right at the top of the hour, so let's go ahead because I want to respect the uAvionix folk time as well. Just wanted to take a minute or two with the regional presidents, if there's any kind of new kind of earth-shattering happenings going on. If you'd just take a minute or two, just open it up to the floor.
So a quick question here. I tried to reach out to I guess maybe this is, I say Steve, but I don't think Steve is running the president position anymore. I tried to reach out to two people that would be considered Missouri presidents of chapters, and I haven't got any response back. I'm not sure if they're no longer doing that role or not answering, or if those clubs have been dissolved. How do I find out if
which chapter did you contact? Fred Mays is the Mid-America.
I think Fred Mays was the one I sent an email to, but didn't get a response back. Is it him and his wife or something?
No.
I'll take a look real quick, Steve, and I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. Let me know also, Bob, about what email address you used, because I've had an issue with the wrong email address for our chapter president a year or two ago, so we can check that.
Yeah, could you? Well, yeah, but yours is a hard one there. On the chapter side, we just had our chapter meeting Saturday in Oxford, Mississippi, the Tennessee chapter.
Cool. And I know the Dans, you guys are doing the fly-in.
Yeah,
in California, right?
Next Saturday, Compton. I'm going to do a little talk, kind of going over the rudder AD. A little bit of the AMOC stuff, but just sort of fabric in general. Like, don't be afraid of stits. Stits is the only one I know, so I'm going to talk about that. But I'll go through alternatives. We got more fabric airplanes showing up in SoCal in general. At Compton, we got 3 champs in the last 3 months. We got 2 new Stinson 108s. One of them's metallized. We have a J5. We got me and the other Dan's PA-22. So the fabric gang is just kind of starting to grow. So I wasn't kind of going to do like a short wing centric fabric thing, which I'll still kind of talk about the fabric AD and how it's not that big of a deal and stuff, and anybody can roll their own rudder if they want. But I'm going to do like a general fabric thing and just kind of try and spread that gospel. But so yeah, we'll write up a little article and throw some pictures and stuff in the magazine and stuff. But yeah, those are going good.
Cool. I think from the Colorado, Wyoming, I'm trying to talk to a couple of guys, but I think we're going to try to do a fly out on the 15th of November at the Lyman, Colorado. But again, that's real tentative. We'll send out emails on that. Any others? Just for those that are saying, hey, I'm trying to get my chapter or whatever, we're trying to get the chapters revived a bit within the club. So don't take it personal. It's just the kind of COVID. We just took a 2x4 on the side of the head with COVID, from what I understand.
Well,
so, what's that, Steve?
It really wasn't COVID. It's just with all of the social media, the chapters have just sort of died.
Yeah.
That's just plain and simple. It's things like this and Facebook that have just killed the chapters. Why does somebody want to go somewhere, wait days to meet to get information when you can get bad information on Facebook immediately?
Yeah.
But well, that's what they get most of the time. Yeah. So, but reviving the chapters, there's a lot of good to be said about that. The Tennessee chapter just met Saturday. One of the things we're kicking around is anybody in the eastern half of the United States interested in a 2-day regional event. If you look at Rough River State Park in Kentucky, they've got a lodge, they've got a runway, there's a restaurant in the lodge, there's a restaurant across the road, there's a hotel across the road. We can rent pontoon boats, go play on the lake. We can do all kinds of stuff. So we're kicking around like a Friday, arrive Friday afternoon, spend Friday evening, Saturday, and then Sunday, everybody depart if anybody's interested in something like that.
Well, all right. I think that's going to be a topic for a Zoom probably in December. But because, yeah, Steve, I just scratch my head about it because there's some groups or quasi chaptery kind of things that I've seen. Like the Colorado Pilots Association has a group where they go out and they fly every Wednesday somewhere in the state, and they'll get 15 or 20 pilots from all around. Now they've been doing it for umpteen years, and that's a smaller region. I get it, but Colorado's a pretty big state, and I just,
Yeah.
There's got to be a sweet spot. I
Well,
just
South
everyone said
Carolina, South
everyone. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, the South
South
Carolina
Carolina
group.
has the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, and
It's
everybody.
huge.
I've heard comments saying, well, we're all getting old. Well, 25 years ago,
We should have
they were
more
getting
time
old
then.
too. So yeah, we'll see. Anyhow, I don't want to belabor that. Like I say, I think it'd be a great topic to really roll up our sleeves and figure out how we can tackle. I really want to, I'm
Steve,
excited.
well, yeah,
I'm
Steve,
excited.
I put that Fred Mays email out there. There's Fred and Bonnie, and then the Mid America chapter.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
but
that.
I don't think he uses the iCloud address.
That's
I
the one
think
he's
if you
got posted.
I know, and if you use that one, I don't think you're gonna
Okay,
let me hang on just a second.
no worries. And then I was also looking. There's who's the other one here? A
Well,
Greg Kuklinski of St. Louis.
yeah, good luck.
Okay, well, I don't think he doesn't even show on the member roster anymore.
No. Which iCloud address did you publish for Fred? Is it FB Mays?
Uh-huh.
Okay, FB Mays at iCloud. He will respond to that one.
Now I'll resend it. That was been about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
anyway, thank you.
All right,
But if
guys, let's move on to our presenter for the evening. As I briefly mentioned, kicking off the night, that and I'm not sucking up, I'm really not. But I just absolutely think Rebecca Gambrell is a rock star. She has helped with so many issues and questions. And again, if you want to prove my point next Oshkosh, go to the uAvionix tent and there'll be a line of 10 people waiting to ask Rebecca a question. And you know, it's just amazing how much she knows about the products and the cool stuff. And we're not getting any kickbacks or none of that stuff, obviously, right? From uAvionix. But Rebecca's agreed to kind of present some of the things that are on the horizon. I send her a couple questions that I've seen on Facebook posts and we've had in these forums. And then obviously, if you've got a question, chime on in. I'm sure Rebecca would be fine with that, to just talk about what's maybe on the drawing board going forward. So, Rebecca, you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Thank you all for joining. This is great. I have two, maybe three other people in the room here. Let me see. Brandon Janitel, who's one of our other tech support people, who some of you may have talked to, and John Chargo, who is one of our engineers um, who can fix everything for us. Loves to he'll give some great feedback too, and actually talking about things that are on the horizon. I asked him to kind of share with some of the new stuff that's coming that I think will definitely get a lot of people's interest. So I'll go ahead and present if that's okay. Can I have the
Yeah.
presenter?
Let me get in there. Hold on. Sorry, Rebecca, I should have been ready for this.
It's okay.
Do that one more time, will you? I clicked wrong. Request to present.
I don't know. Now it's not doing it.
Yeah, I know.
Go down to the share button and there should be like something where you say multiple people will share and you're gonna have to stop sharing, I think.
Yeah. I had it and I lost it. Hold on.
There you go. Oh,
There you go.
okay. So you still have to, nope, I got it now. All right. You let me share.
Brutal.
All right. So I am, um, like, like James said, I am an A&P pilot, and I have more avionics background. I actually never went and got my IA, even though I was told to. I just didn't. I just didn't. Maybe someday I'll do it in my retirement or something. I don't know. Um, so I just want to, James gave me a list of some different questions that you have, along with, I just want to review over the AV30. Some of you guys may know the AV30, may have the AV30. There's so many features and different things with it that I just want you guys to be able to, see everything. Um, what we had one, maybe two people that won an IFR capable tripacer or something like that lines. It's kind of unusual, but I have dealt with a couple people that did want to do that with installations. This is pre uAvionix, where I was talking to people that wanted to do that. Not, I would say the majority probably don't. So I'm going to kind of focus in on just the whole capabilities with the AV30s, but I can go into more detail if we have time. Um, and then, we're always more than happy to talk people through the extra features that we have. So I'll go ahead and get started as long as I can get this to go. So we'll go over who we are, accessories that we have, the AV Link and AV Mag, because I think that's the majority of what people are going to want as a tri-pacer. The latest software, new software, and the questions that were posed to us. So some people don't realize that we do more than just general aviation, more than the tail beacon, sky beacon, the AV30. Just so you guys know, we are very much in the uncrewed area. We're also doing aviation networks for airports, so that people in the control tower can actually see stuff on the ground moving around and up in the air. And we have a lot of implementation that we're doing there. And we're also involved with defense. If anybody's been in military, it's like the mode 5 stuff where you're friend or foe. But that's just a quick overview, and I'll get a little bit into this too about the uncrewed aviation and how some of the new regulations that are coming out with that are going to affect general aviation. So specifically AV30, 3 1/8" round instrument. So it fits the hole that you already have, unless you have a really, really old airplane where they're gigantic. You'll have to get a plate to fit it down or whatever. But for the most part, it's going to fit most of the aircraft hole that's already there for attitude indicator and DG. It's certified for aircraft. The AML STC, there's over 500 models that it includes. And if it's not on there, for the most part, the attitude indicator, you probably don't even need to do a field approval because if it was certified under CAR 3 and didn't even have an attitude indicator, you can probably get away with it a non-primary indicator that you can use because it's not required for your aircraft. So there's some ways around paperwork and stuff like that you can always do. So it was originally approved as a primary attitude indicator, directional gyro, and slip skid for VFR or IFR conditions as is. Interface with the audio panel, OAT probe, and GPS. The GPS portion was the VFR only part. And since we have done a whole lot, and I'll get into all the changes that we've made with that. So that's how we started. So it's improved flight safety by improving situational awareness and eliminating failure-prone vacuum system dependency. As you can see on the top one here, this is actually showing the tail beacon X interface, and this one is showing actually a VFR. So if you would hook up just to a handheld GPS, this is what the information that you would get. It would look like this. So we have since grown from our basic AV30 to being able to integrate with a whole bunch of other pieces of equipment. Our tail beacon X is our ADS-B out transponder all in one, controlled by the AV30. Our Canadian friend that really wants to install that, I think you were referring to the tail beacon X for that installation, and maybe not the tail beacon. Is that correct? Who was that? I was listening.
Yeah, Rebecca, we're restoring a EA22. And when I went on your website looking for STCs, you've got them for all the short wing Pipers except for the PA-22 Tri-Pacer. And I think there's some
Yeah.
rationale behind that, but I don't, maybe that has changed because
Yeah,
something we'd really like to do.
the rationale behind it is that it doesn't fit. So because of the fabric covered aircraft, and it might be that some people have made it, but it takes a lot of change just because the size of it is very, very tight. Um, and so that's the reason why we weren't able to put it on the AML STC. So, which is a little bit frustrating, I know. I will tell you right now, we are working on an alternative, which is called the Echo ESX. And it is ADS-B out also. You would have to install a transponder antenna and the I'm sorry, I pointed up transponder antenna goes on the bottom. Sorry. The GPS antenna and a transponder antenna um for it to work, but it's a remote mounted unit that is still it is also controlled by the AV30, and I'm sure we'll be looking to get that also certified up in the in Canada. But our problem with Canada is that you guys require diversity and it won't be diverse compliant. So there's a little bit of complication there, and that's where it gets a little bit dif difficult. So I know there are people that have installed it inside fabric covered aircraft. I could put you in contact. I don't know if you know Bernard Gervais. It's possible that you can work with him to try to find someone that could make it so it could be installed internally. But yeah, that would be a little. It's definitely going to be a little complicated to say the least. So
Yeah, we have RV10. We're running the tail beacon EXP, and of course it's diversity, so that works. We just need you to make that into something that's certified.
yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we're going to be able to do there. So.
By the way,
We might
Rebecca,
have to make something work that we already have. Like I said, with the fabric covered aircraft, it could be installed internally. We have people that have done that, but it's a little bit of a harder thing to do. It's not straightforward. Then we have the sky sensor, which is our ADS-B in wingtip, right wingtip. And so you get everything with that. It's a 978 receiver, so you're able to get weather and traffic on that. Of course, it's going to receive 1090 and 978 traffic. So that's all displayed on the AV30, which I'll show you a picture later of that. The AV link, to be able to display the Skylink information, you have to have the AV link installed on the AV30. And there's some various things and some new things that are going to be features with the AV link that I'll let John share about once we get there, about what you'll be able to do with that in the future, which is pretty exciting. The AVHSI is a ARINC 429 converter, and it also syncs all the AV30s. So if you have multiple AV30s, 2 or 3 or 4, because everybody needs 4 AV30s, you can connect it up to the AVHSI and display or not display, you'll be able to, anything you change on one, you'll be able to change on the other. One of the frustrations of a lot of people is they wanted outside air temperature on multiple AV30s. With the AVHSI, you can now do that. It'll display on both of them. So you only connect it up to one. It's sharing information. So if you make a change on one, it changes it on the other. So that's one of the nice things there. And I'm sure AVAPA, everybody will want one of those because you all have S-Tech autopilots, right? So that one probably doesn't apply to anybody here. Are there any? two people said they wanted autopilots. Are there any autopilots certified for the TriPacer?
No,
No, unfortunately not.
nothing modern.
So Trio, I would talk to Trio and tell them, if you get a whole group of people together that want it, they would be the most likely to do something. So I would say go that direction. Nobody needs the AVAPA, so I won't even talk about it. It's just for STEC autopilots. But if you have another airplane and you have a STEC autopilot, this is what will make that work, the AV30 work with it. And then of course we have the AVMag, our external magnetometer, so you don't have to correct the heading on the AV30. It slaves it or it corrects it every 700 milliseconds or 200 milliseconds. I always forget. I confuse which one's which. Oops. So those are all their accessories. Of course, that's OAT probe is not on there, but that is one also. AV Link, the other thing with that is that's for software updates. So if you want to seamlessly do software updates, that's the way that it would be completed much easier. You can do it from an iPad or a computer, whatever has Wi-Fi, you're able to use it. Flying with the AV30. So any questions on those things? I'm going to go over some more specifics, but anything specific on what I just covered? All right, I'm going to keep going then. Just interrupt me if anybody has a question. So AV30 modes. So we have two, well, to start off with, the basic unit can be an attitude indicator or a DG. You press and hold the center button and it switches from the attitude indicator to the DG and then it goes back. We now have we now have a traffic display, and I'll go into that in a little bit, and then also as a CDI display that can be used on the AV30. All it is software and configuration. There is not a separate unit that you have to buy, like a different, like one AV30 is an attitude indicator and one AV30 is a DG. They're all the same. It's just changed by configuration. And then there's also 3 configurable pages for each mode in the attitude indicator and the DG. The traffic display and the CDI do not have 3 pages, but the attitude indicator and the DG do. So by pressing the right button, you get 3 different pages that you can configure it however you want. I usually tell people, configure page 1 as takeoff, second page is cruise, third page is landing, depending on what you want to see in those situations. And that's usually the best way to do it. And then on the DG, I think I go on this in just a minute. I'll show you the other pages that you can display there. There are 6 user configurable text overlay positions. As you can see, right here we have distance, indicated airspeed, waypoint, and on this side over here you have set altitude, altimeter, and baro. There's also these inner lays, so we have the AOA on the inside of the AV30. It can also be changed to G-load, and then on the right you can do vertical trend or you can do G-load. So there's multiple things that you can put on the AV30. Oh yeah, and also at the top you have GPS track and DG heading. And then we've also just recently added the turn coordinator, turn and bank indications that you can put here also. And I'll go into detail on that in a little bit. So these are the 3 pages that you get on the AV30. If you have a GPS, you'll get all 3 of them. If you don't, the HSI and the ARC display they won't show any data. So it'll say no data. So really good. You can hook up a handheld GPS, in-panel GPS, pretty much anything that you're going to have on the airplane, you can input here. And then I will go into detail a little bit later about if you have ForeFlight and how that can be used on here. AV Link. So the AV Link is going to give us a traffic display. What you see here is what you would see on the traffic display. So if you notice it does have a heading on it, that is going to be the GPS heading from whatever device you have connected to the AV Link. We work with the Sky Sensor, Century, Stratix. There's other ones also that work. And I'll show you some of the other features that are on this traffic display that we've added. Yeah. AV30 AV Mag. This is something that the AV30 really needed, and it's been a really good complement to it. The DG heading, corrected, John, I can't remember if it's 700 milliseconds or 200 milliseconds. It's really fast.
Yeah, 200,
John,
5 times a second.
okay, so I had it wrong. Okay, so 200 milliseconds, so even quicker. It can be paralleled to up to 44 AV30s, and then one AV30 would power the AV mag and then parallel the ground in the RS-232 to the other units. So there was a question on where to mount it. The main thing is you got to mount it where there's the least amount of interference. And I would say changing interference. We can probably calibrate so that it has the least amount of interference. Once you calibrate it, if it's something that's always this much, then we can calibrate that in the how we're doing the calibration. I don't know if that's making sense, but we're able to filter that out. The problem is if you have like a strobe light that's causing interference, that's going to be something we're going to have to probably move away from to make it perform well. So think about anything metal that's in the airplane. I know the short wing Piper has a lot of metal in it, steel specifically, not just metal. And so that those kind of things can cause problems. I tell people use a camp compass and turn things on and off and take a look around and see what might be causing any interference. Even loose wires that are not tie wrapped can cause interference. So tying those up and pushing them away from the AV mag can definitely help. The latest software. So the latest software that we've added is 301 and 311, and they both have some really cool features, whether or not you have the AVHSI or not. And I want to show some of those. They're really, really cool. This is something that John came up with. Nobody else has it. So rate of climb, feet per nautical mile. So as you're like climbing or descending, and I have to get down to a certain altitude or get up to a certain altitude, within a certain amount of nautical miles. This does the calculation for you, makes it really, really smooth. And then rate of turn indicator. This is something we just added with the 301. And so there's two different types. There's the rate of turn indicator and then the standard rate bank angle. The standard rate bank angle will require the OAT probe. So whatever unit that's set on. So if you have an OAT probe, but you don't have the AVHSI, it's not going to share the information. So if you have the OAT probe on your attitude indicator, that's the only one you'll be able to get the standard bank angle from. We also made it so alternator voltage has a low warning and an over voltage, so you can set those accordingly so that it changes red. So if you're dropping voltage and you're not at your 14 volts, 13 volts or whatever, and you want to make sure before it gets down to 9, you want to know. And so this is something you can set up so that it indicates red before you get too low. And so that's pilot settable, something you can do in the air even if you want. We also have minimum and maximum G display, so you can display that during a flight to know whether or not you're pulling a certain amount of G's. I don't know if anybody's doing any spins in a tri-pacer or not. But something to check, and sometimes it's just fun. I've just pulled, this many G's, or just to know how much fun you were having that day or how good your landings were. The other thing that we added on the traffic display was the vertical speed indicator, because guess what is not required in 91205 for VFR or IFR is the vertical speed indicator. So what we did is you could have your traffic display on there, and it's a great place to see. Also, you can see if you look at the traffic, this small little triangle here, you can see that it's 1,300 feet above us. Well, if I'm climbing, right, then I might be at their altitude at a certain time, and especially if they're right in front of us, I can know that I'm on a collision course for them. So that's a real handy tool that's been added there. So that was 301, and this also included the integration with the AVHSI and that certification.
Hey, Rebecca, when
Yeah.
we do the updates, because I've got an old software, all right, it's all back compatible, right? All the ones I've missed, like I'll get three when I do 311, I'll get 301 and so forth, right? Okay.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So there's nothing separated from so even though even though I'm saying 301, that's to this, oops, and then 311 includes everything from before plus more.
Okay.
So, yeah, so exactly. So if you have older software, you have 241 or something like that, and you want to update it, you can go straight to the current software of 311.
Okay.
Thank you. That's a great question. In 311, we had some AOA improvements where it's performing a whole lot better. That just so you know, also, because you guys were talking about the AV20. The AV20 has the same improvements that make it respond a whole lot better. We had some complaints about people, especially turning bass to final, and it just going off way too much. So we've made that so much better, and I'm talking on the AV20. The AV30 didn't really have that problem, but I would say in certain instances, in some like climbing turns, it wouldn't indicate correctly. And sometimes after recovery, it wasn't indicating correctly. We have made some major improvements. The engineering team's done a great job of improving that AOA so that it's really, really good. It does take configuration, so it's not just a matter of just install it and it just works. You do have to set the low limit and the high limit. And they're in increments of 0.5, so you can bring it in a lot tighter also. So that's one good thing about that. We also added the flight plan. So along with the VSI, we've also added the flight plan with the traffic display. So with that, you're able to see the traffic, where you're going, if anything's going to be in your way, and then also altitude, and whether you're climbing or what altitude you're supposed to be at when you get there, so that you can keep an eye on that. We also added audible and visual altitude alerter, so the set altitude, so it'll change colors once you get to that. And John, remind me what the audible tone is on that.
Yeah, it'll do a double beep when you get within shoot 100 feet, 200 shoot. I have to double check. It's I've moved on to the next feature. I believe it's a double beep when you get within 200, and then when you deviate back out of that.
Okay. So there is, audible, but with the short wing pipers, because the fabric, they're not supposed to have the audio hooked up. Is that correct? So that's the one shortcoming, but there will be a visual change on it. The other thing that we have is the configuration download. So as helping our customers, this is a huge feature. So you go into the if I'm not sure how they've configured it, I can just have them come in here, scan the QR code, and then I get a printout of everything of how it's all been, how the menu has been set up. And then this is a great feature also, so that if you happen to, like change units or something like that, and you want to configure it again, you don't know how you configured it, then you have to go back through step by step. With this, once you get done with the installation, scan it, put it in your logbooks, it's ready to go. If anything changes, this will tell you exactly how it was configured. Then the other one that is huge, and I think is really, really awesome feature, is the wind estimation. So as you can see in this picture down here, we have wind speed and direction, so you can see where the wind's coming from and how strong it is. And then also we have a comp, so we know that we have a tailwind and a crosswind of 13 and 18 in this example. And then the Echo ESX, which I was kind of alluding to earlier, which might be more for our Piper short wing people, but not so much for out of country. That is also here. and all the configuration is done in the AV30. So instead of going to the Tail Beacon X and configuring it there and back to the AV30, you can just do it all from the AV30, which makes it super handy. Um, Sneak peek. So John, I'm going to have you talk about this. I don't have any extra slides on it, but I will have you talk to the next update that we're going to have coming out, which is pretty cool.
Sure, yeah, thanks. I'll jump in with that, and hopefully the internet bears with me. I'm coming in from a hotel room out in Montana, out here to do some flight tests on this new 3.2.0. Home office for me is Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We've got a plane there, but the plane out here in Montana's got a different autopilot. It's got the Aero Cruise in it, so we want to make sure everything works with the Aero Cruise. Of note, for a clip wing or short wing Piper crew, we've added the ability to use ForeFlight as a GPS source into the AV30. Um, I I seldom fly without some kind of EFB app. ForeFlight's certainly been kind of my go-to recently. Um, and so basically everything that you could have done on the AV30 with a wired GPS, you can do with ForeFlight now. So that is, it'll show you, draw out your flight plan on the AV30's map display. It'll give you course deviation from that. Of course, it's VFR only guidance on that. Um, and then it'll give you distance, waypoint names. If you had an autopilot in, that's partly what we're testing out here. You can actually couple your autopilot to ForeFlight, which has been super slick for our flying. Just some of our test flying, I saw like a big old patch of rain in front of me, and I was like, "Oh, it's so slick!" I just grabbed a little line in ForeFlight, drug it to the side, and the plane turned and flew around the rain. Now, that's not to say I still enjoy hand flying the airplane, but so that's been one of the bigger features that we're adding, and then also a lot of enhancements for autopilots, which again, for the Strefly S Stinson 108, it's my plane. There's no autopilot for it either. But doing a lot of enhancements as far as autopilots are concerned in the AV30. Just kind of going through my list right now and seeing what other goodies we're rolling in there.
Hey, John, you
was
use the
ForeFlight.
ForeFlight. You use the AV30 with the AV Link to do the ForeFlight. Is that how you're going to have to do that?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yep. So it's the wireless interface. Yeah, the AV Link provides the wireless interface, so just wireless into ForeFlight.
Okay. Thank you.
And for that too, if you've got the iPad or using an iPhone, the iPad that has a cellular plan has GPS built in, can use that as the position source for the AV30. Otherwise, it'll use the GPS source from your ADS-B receiver, be it Sentry, Stratix, kind of down the list there. I'm just kind of clicking through my list here. I think that's probably the bigger, and then just a handful of small requests. And I will say too to this team as well, as you have ideas, as you have changes, feel free, please reach out, hit us up at Oshkosh or wherever, or reach out to Rebecca and Brandon. So those all get added to our queue, and we're constantly making little refinements on it. Though not to say, if you don't want any of these new features, too, you're able to disable pretty well everything and just use it as an attitude indicator, and it's a pretty lightweight replacement for a vacuum. My Stinson had a Venturi system, and I saved probably about 7 or 8 pounds or so worth of junk I was able to get rid of. Unfortunately, it wasn't one of the cool like spun brass ones. It was just this kind of like, otherwise I would have polished it up and kept it. But anyways, good. Even if you're not going to use the advanced features on it, it can be decluttered down to just a basic instrument.
And when you say reach out to you, John, I know on Facebook there's a uAvionix group that you respond to all the time. I know that. And I know by email, my God, Rebecca's responding to my emails on Sundays. I don't know what the heck days off you get.
Yeah, we both have problems maybe.
Yeah.
No, yeah, a lot of it through the support team. Tickets there are a great way to get things cataloged. And yeah, as people mentioned, there's a group. It's actually one of our resellers that runs a Facebook group, but he's built a pretty big community out there. And so it's kind of in the interest of meeting our customers where they are. I jump in every once in a while too, and that's a nice forum too because it's public and people can search it, and find answers to their problems, perhaps on a weekend or late night at the hangar.
You
I will
guys
tell
all,
you, John, there were what, three people I think on this that earlier that said they wanted engine monitoring systems. So
Okay.
keep
Okay.
Hey,
so
John, Jerry here. One quick question. Um, if I want to replace my vacuum system, do I need two AV30s, one for the DG and one for the AI, or can I switch back and forth in service between one and get by legally?
That is a interesting question. It's a loaded question. And that is um
it
it
goes
comes
back.
down to the types to the certification of your aircraft. If your aircraft requires an attitude indicator and a directional gyro to fly, then if you're replacing that required attitude indicator, you've got to lock it into attitude indicator mode. If you're replacing required DG, you've got to lock it into DG mode. In the case of my Stinson, I mean, it's a 1947 aircraft, certified under CAR 3. An attitude indicator and a DG were not required from the get-go. I can legally remove them entirely from that aircraft. So it's my opinion, then that I can leave it unlocked and have one to swap back and forth.
just push a button for a couple seconds to switch them, right, John? Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And I don't know your data your the TCDS for your aircraft for the PA-20s, PA-22s, but I'd be surprised if those
No.
are required instruments in that aircraft. Obviously, if you're going to fly IFR, they are required,
No,
and you would
no,
want to have
just
separate instruments
VFR.
for that.
Okay, I got to do some research from my end now. Good answer. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
Rebecca, do you agree with that, or am I
yeah, I do want
leading
to
people
add to
astray?
that just from the AMP background is you have to have someone to sign that off. So like
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting. You go into any FAA meeting and they will ask, is it, I mean, just let's call it like major. Who thinks this is a major? Who thinks this is a minor? And it's like half the hands go up one way, half the hands go up the other way. And it's like, guess what? You're both right. Because it depends, like you have to decide as an A&P, like how you're going to sign it off. What's the paperwork that backs you up on this? And just make sure as you're signing it off that you are backing it up with whatever paperwork that you have for it. So if it follows under like the TCDS, it's not in the TCDS, it's not a required instrument. This is for VFR. As long as they're following up and they may, to cover myself, I would say for VFR use only, just to make sure it's very clear, how that's set up. So anyway, so that's, yeah, you kind of get in the weeds, but realize it really comes down to the AMPIA, whoever's signing it off, who feels comfortable with it.
Rebecca,
So, yes.
this is Steve Crothers. The TCDS is 1A6 for the Tri-Pacer for the PA-22. The PA-20 is a different TCDS. It depends on the configuration of the airplane, the way it was delivered from the factory. So
Right.
you do have to look very carefully at the way it was delivered. Some came with these instruments, some didn't.
Yeah, so it's very much a thin line. Like you just have to figure out how you're going yeah, whoever's signing it off is the one that has to, they're the decision maker. So, and they can always reach out to the FAA for guidance.
AC 120-77 helps.
Yes. And so does PS 108, and I'm escaping my mind. Yeah, there's plenty of ACs and policy statements that have been written that definitely can help. I know some people want to replace their turn coordinator with the AV30, which there's an AC about that, AC 9175. So so you got to get buried in paperwork to get this signed off if you want to do something outside of the normal procedure, I guess. Um, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of touch on some of the questions that I was sent from James Wood about that. I guess that some people asked. I just want to make sure I cover them. I'm glowing red because it's really dark here and the screen is very red. So accuracy and reliability of the AV30C, I will tell you that we have made major improvements, very much to the part of our, John Chargo and Dean Harkin, they've really driven this to improve it. The AV Mag and that addition has just made it so that we don't have to rely on any internal um, issues that there might be in the aircraft that affect the AV30 heading. We just know with the AV Mag, it's going to correct it and correct it correctly. We have had zero failures on the AV Mag, so it's definitely been doing its job. Updates have improved the ability on the AV30, such as improving um, the rotary knob. There were some issues with the knob being jumpy. It would kind of wear down. We made that better just with software, which was a great thing. There's been some other improvements, John. I'm trying to think about some of the other stuff that we had issues. Well, of course, the AVHSI, people wanted a GPS. They wanted the vertical and lateral deviation. They want to integrate with their S-Tech autopilot. We delivered. So everything we've done, we just keep, we just we get it to the end and fix it. So there's been constant improvements. Anything else you can think of, John, that we've just made it more reliable and
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of little stuff along the way. Part of it, I joke with people like when I joined uAvionix, I had Tailbeacon, and so I knew the company. I wasn't actually supposed to work on AV30, but then they gave me a free one for my airplane, which there's no such thing as a free avionics. But and I started kind of running my mouth about features and capabilities. I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if it could do X, Y, Z? And that's been the last couple of years of either myself or communities like this group. You know, have a need that we can meet. So yeah, continuing to update it, continuing to add features. The little kind of the people like, yeah, this is annoying. I saw this, or even the Facebook group people mentioned. I look at the problem. We look at problems people have. Sometimes even it's just hey, configuration problem, and we're constantly looking at like, well, could we make it easier? Could we you know change the wording in the manual if at a minimum or something to make continuously improve the product.
I think we have really, really good support. So Brandon is here. He was last year with Steve Carruthers down in Oregon. So we're here to help, and we do want to hear feedback. I kind of touched on best places to mount the magnetometer. That was one question. Use Camp Compass. I think some people have installed it in the tri-pacer in the back, just as long as it's away from things. The nice thing about the magnetometer is it can be mounted pretty much in every position except not 45 degrees. So it's like every 90-degree position. I don't have one. Do I have one here?
Yeah, and I
It's a little.
suspect your aircraft's pretty similar to my Stinson. It's chromoly steel tubing with fabric over it. I wanted to go in the tail because that's like super easy to get to. It's just behind the baggage compartment. But I was having trouble with that chromoly steel being a magnet source. So in mine, I put it out in the wing. The Stinson, it's an aluminum spar with aluminum ribs. My wings have been metallized with aluminum at some point. Aluminum's fine. Obviously, it's ferrous, steel and iron that you're wanting to stay away from. Unfortunately, with the fabric wings, it kind of comes down to how generous your recover was on inspection panels and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I've mounted mine in the left wing by the landing light, 18 inches or so away from the landing light, because like you said, I had the little wire pass through already pre-installed, so it was a piece of cake and works dead on. Yeah.
But the best place for it is in the right wing, just outside of the fuel tank, because you only have two wires going out there, or one wire actually going out through the right wing. That's to the nav light. Landing lights, depending on light you got some issues there. But if you're on the back side of the spar, you're isolated.
Yeah, I was cheating because of that pass through, Steve. I was like, oh my God, this could be too easy. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that you guys would probably give more recommendations better than I could. So you've worked on them. So thank you. Will the AV20 or AV30 ever get a turn coordinator functionality? Yes, it has it. Just need to update.
Cool.
So that's the nice thing about that delivered, which is exciting.
Yep, for the
Future
AV30 at
enhanced.
least. The AV20, we
Yeah,
haven't.
AV20, sorry. Yeah, the
And
question
Meta,
was
maybe?
AV20 or AV30. There is an or, so AV30, yes, AV20 won't. We don't, probably won't, I guess.
Probably not.
Um, Future enhancements, yeah, like what John was saying with ForeFlight, which is super exciting. I think that is something that is, especially if you use ForeFlight, will be really great. Um, so AV30 versus Garmin, some of you guys asked me about that. I just kind of put something together really quick. Um, and maybe John, you can, I think you've done more with the G5 than I have. So I know feet per nautical mile is one that G5 doesn't have. Fits an existing hole. Looks better. I think it looks better. It has different UIs available, which I think a lot of people have liked having like the vintage look available on it. There's more visible area to look at. The traffic display with the VSI and the flight plan, I think is definitely pretty cool. It's an all-in-one unit, no need to buy different units. And then the Tailbeacon Connects control, soon to have the Echo ESX control. Multiple configurations, displays, the display is pilot configurable. There's nothing like that on the G5. The AOA is something that's pretty sweet that's on there, and the installation is a whole lot easier. So you want to add to that, John, maybe a little bit? I'm sure you have maybe some other things.
No, flown. Yeah, G5 is a good instrument. Not gonna badmouth it at all. It's a good instrument. I went AV30 in my plane. Largely just driven by I didn't want a square instrument and a round hole. Kind of an old classic airplane. But both will do well. For a short wing Piper, both are going to be a good solution. Yeah, with the AV30, you get to call Rebecca. So.
Well, I can tell you, putting the G5 and AV30s in short wings, the instrument overlay on the short wing, the G5 is a pain in the butt because it's a square. It's a square and it sticks out. And our panel overlay is metal. It's not like a Cessna. It's not plastic. So I've seen some really horrid installations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some that it's like, did the mechanic gnaw on it? Like, how did they cut that hole? Like, I've seen some pretty rough things that, yeah.
Yeah, they're not. It's work. Trust me.
Yeah.
I just did one, and it turned into a new panel.
Oh man. Bummer.
One more thing I wanted to touch base on future equipment. You guys were talking about landing fees and such, and then also talking about flying, and some of you guys fly in Class Delta, places that you are not required to have ADS-B out, but you want to avoid other traffic. So this is we are looking at adding electronic conspicuity unit like the Sky Echo that we already have for the UK, Australia, New Zealand. What it is the low power ADS-B out unit. It would have ADS-B in also. And it's not for the control towers to use. It's for you to see other aircraft within your bubble, I guess is what I'd call it. So you're like 2 to 3 mile bubble. So it's in uncontrolled, low altitude environments, especially because guess what's going to be flying there? Your UAS equipment. So for them to avoid you, we want to be able to have people that can be flying in that area, and the drones UAS people could avoid those aircraft. And it would most likely not be something that you're going to get. It's not going to be picked up by ATC. It's not going to be picked up by FlightAware. You're not going to show up on Flight Radar 24. But the guy flying in the airplane beside you, as long as they have ADS-B in on 978, they're going to pick you up. So this is something that is definitely coming down the pipeline. We don't know when. It'll come out with the Part 108 and Part 146 certification. But I did want to talk on this because I think this is something that some of you would really want. It's going to be inexpensive, not like a full installation, but it would keep it so that you would avoid other traffic flying at you.
Hey, Rebecca, there's
Um,
one. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I was just going to go on to the next thing. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
So, I mean, like I think that's it. There's a cool little panel display of what things could look like if you have four AV30s, because that's what everybody needs.
I'm counting six. Oh, no, I have four. Okay. Hey, there's a question. There's a question in the chat room about if you guys offer services to kind of help plan out an upgraded panel or anything like that, especially with, maybe integrating with legacy equipment or whatever. Do you guys do that kind of thing?
We don't have anything official other than people ask me and I tell them.
Okay.
I mean, like that's kind of the short of it. Like, hey, I have this, this, and this. What do I need? And um,
Well,
that's that's what we normally do. So submitting a support ticket. So one thing I would recommend is get on our website. Um, if you go to the support tab and there's a place where you can submit a support ticket. Um, and Brandon would be the one most likely responding to you about AV30 stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, like put in what you have or what you're thinking about doing, and we can kind of give you like at least
Sure.
what the minimum what you need. And, if you want more than that, we can also offer what you need for that. I do recommend, and like you said, it's hard to get into an installer. Usually they're 6 months to a year out. Um, so it's kind of sometimes you have to go to them to tell them what you need. But yeah.
Well, hey, are there any final kind of questions? I know we're going a little over, Rebecca, and I want to respect your team's time. This has been
Yeah.
spectacular. But any other questions out there? Go ahead.
Yeah. What's the expected delivery on the Echo certification?
The Echo ESX,
Yes.
that's a good question. I don't know right now. We're still working on it, making sure that everything is yeah, operational on it. So I don't really have a date right now for that.
So are you just ballpark within a year,
Next
2
year.
years? Okay.
Oh, yeah, next year. It should be in
Yeah, the short answer
2026.
is the FA's approved the TSO on it at this point. The STC, which the TSO is basically the technical data for the unit. The STC is what gives you permission to actually install it.
Yeah.
That's getting worked out. Working through flight test plans, actually working on the product, getting it into manufacturing. But next year, is a pretty safe bet. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Should I was about to say like should be Oshkosh, but don't quote me on it.
Well, if it's a test case, let me
Right
know.
now, no one at the FA is actually working. So, well, some people are,
Well.
but the people that are working on this are not
I'm
working.
recording, John. Be careful. I've already stepped
I know.
away.
Be careful there. Now, next year is a pretty safe bet, though.
All right. Thanks.
Are you guys going to? I
Question
know.
on the
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
with the Echo ESX. What I'm not sure how to ask this question. I do not have ADSB out right now. Occasionally, I see my shadow with my ADSB in because my transponder signals are being rebroadcasted from the ground. So now I potentially have two ADSB signals that are different but from the same aircraft. Have you guys thought through that? What do we do with that?
So that's a separate thing. That's not going to be, you won't have that issue with the Echo ESX.
Correct.
Oh, you have a regular tail
No, I
beacon,
have no
correct?
ADSB out at all.
Oh,
And I'm just using Sentry for ADSB in. So I can see the rebroadcast of my transponder information occasionally with my Sentry in. And so if I add,
yeah. So if you have an ADSB out, that filters it out, except for TSB traffic, because what you're seeing is your TSB traffic. So somebody else is picking you up and rebroadcasting it on 1090 or 978, but your Sentry device doesn't know that that's you.
Right. It just knows that it's traffic.
It's a traffic, yeah.
Probably
That
the-
is an issue just in general, just because of how TISB works. So I'm not sure. Yeah, like, it doesn't really
Okay,
matter
so
what ADSBN you get. I
right.
mean,
So what you're
ADSB
saying that
Pro.
this question I'm asking is not a new issue with the Echo ESX. It would happen with any ADSB out solution.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, though
Thank you.
once your aircraft is actually broadcasting its own tail number, then your Century will have it'll get perhaps will get a TISB rebroadcast, but it's like, oh, I see something from my own tail number, and I see a
Right.
rebroadcast from my tail number, and it confuses them, and it's like, oh, that's the same guy. The challenge is without ADSB at all, it doesn't know. ForeFlight does some pretty interesting things in there as far as like they do a lot of work on their side to merge targets. But once you get ADSB, that more or less takes care of itself. Every once in
Yeah.
a while, you still get a ghost, but it's certainly rare.
It took me a little while to stop going like that, looking behind me. It's like, what?
Oh, and it
Traffic at a
alerts
quarter
like,
mile, the same altitude? What the heck?
yeah, that's yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you get ADSB out, that'll reduce. But frankly, I still every once in a while it'll still pop back up. That's the
Yeah.
function of the ADSB system.
Hey, I got one last question is this, Jim. So I know you guys at Oshkosh will do show specials. That's when I got my AV20 and my AV Link. Do you guys do any other, like, I don't know, Black Friday specials or Short Wing Piper Club, discounts or anything like that? Or is it just kind of luck of the draw?
They'll probably do something for Black Friday. They usually do. I mean, that
Yeah.
there's usually stuff that comes up. Sign up for our email
Yep, got
blast.
it.
If you go on our website, the bottom of every page, you can sign up for email stuff. And so whenever we have a sale, it'll come up through there.
Okay, cool.
What does it take to get a group buy?
That's going to be a question for our sales. So
I
good
know we've
question.
done it. I know it's been a thing.
We have
It's
done it.
happened. It's
Yeah.
happened. I don't know the details.
I'll reach
So,
out.
but certainly would be interested there to chat with you guys a little bit more on that.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to, or John, I can reach out to you, or if just send me the name of your CEO and I'll start at the top and work my way down if you want to do that.
There you
Either
go.
one. Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. Now we can
Well,
forward
guys,
out
again, I want to
contacts for
respect
our
your
sales
time.
team.
I want to respect your time. I thought this was spectacular. So thank you so much for all this great information. I wish we had another 2 hours, but if I really appreciate your time and thanks everyone for your questions. And again, I don't get any kickback or anything. I think uAvionix products are spectacular, and their support is above and beyond. And I can tell you offline the stories I've encountered that are just wonderful. It's just I can't say enough good things about them. So thank you guys for doing that. And I'm going to just go ahead and do a closing slide if I can do that, and then we're going to wrap up our.
Oh
our
yeah,
meeting
I'll
for the night.
stop sharing. That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, my serial numbers on my AV30s are in the 100s. So
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
I've had them for a while.
I'll stop
Oh,
sharing.
fantastic.
There we go.
All right. Well, yeah, let me see if I'm sharing there. Yeah, I'm sharing. So again, I hope this is beneficial for you all. It helped me enormously. I was this close to buying a new turn coordinator. So Rebecca saved me, or John, or whoever thought of that turn coordinator, saved me a couple $1,000. So again, this will be it'll be on the boy, my lips aren't working here, on the YouTube site, the recording. So if you want to go back and revisit any of the topics that Rebecca or John talked about, and I'll also, I'm sure they're easy to find, and just like Rebecca said and John said, the support request on their website works. As for our next Zoom gatherings, right now we have a tentative polyfiber follow-up discussion for the next one on November 11th. Remember, these have moved to Mondays now, second and fourth Mondays of the month. I think November 25th, right before Thanksgiving, is probably a good time because it might be a little lower attendance, that we just have an open mic. If you just want to bring any issues or whatever, we weren't able to do open mic. And then on December 9th, I'm another humongous fan of this. It's called Virga, Fly Virga. It's a smartphone app for reporting pilot reports. You file a pilot report with your smartphone in about, I don't know, 15 seconds. I've had the CEO present this before, but if they're not available, I haven't heard back from them yet. I will present it. It's only going to probably be 15 or 20 minutes. It's again a free app that it's fascinating. They go into the guts of how the the PIREP system works, and it's kind of stunning when you think about things like, on ForeFlight, they filter out most of the PIREPs. So if you've got that selection for PIREPs, you're not getting them all. And I'll let them talk about that. That'll be December 9th. Any kind of closing questions or comments or emotional outbursts?
Do you realize your dates are Tuesdays? Those dates you're showing are Tuesdays?
Hold on.
Sorry.
Let me stop recording so I can start swearing. You're absolutely right. Shotgun it. All right. Well, just subtract a day, okay? Or
All right.
or you're gonna be
enough.
late. I swear to God.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's so embarrassing. Yeah, these are Mondays. Thanks for checking that. These are Mondays. And again, like I mentioned, kicking off for the folks that are new to the Zoom gatherings, you see my email at the bottom. You can text me, you can call me, you email me. If you've got any other ideas for our Zoom gatherings, I'm begging you, just let me know, because I don't want to be the only one thinking of topics or whatever. So this is all a group get together. But that said, I think we're going to call it a night. So thanks, everyone. Again, thanks for the uAvionix folks. This was spectacular. And thanks, everybody, for joining. I'm going to stop recording. If you want to curse or slam the FAA, give me a second here.